Okay, so starting with section 3, and I had kind of been warning everybody, section 3 is kind of the big section of the chapter. We're going to talk about how to write names for formula, or names and formulas of the compounds. So why is salt called sodium chloride, and how do I write the formula for it? When do I have numbers? When do I not have numbers? When do I have parentheses and things like that? So today is the day where we will learn all of that. So the end of your notes, what's a formula unit? How does it relate to what's in the compound? How do you write formulas for compounds formed from different ions? And then oxyanions is a vocab word that we'll talk about. And then how do we name them? So how do we write the formula and how do we name them? Vocab, and here's your first page. So when writing names and formulas for ionic compounds, the cation is always first. Positive charge first, negative charge second, every single time, no matter what. So in a normal binary compound, the metal is first, the nonmetal is second. Chemists around the world all have a standardized system for naming compounds, which is also why some of the symbols that we have for our elements, some of them are in Latin, which is why, like potassium's symbol is a K, not a P. So part of it comes from the country that it originated from. So a formula unit represents the simplest ratio, often called formula. So when I'm talking, I'm going to say formula. I'm not going to say formula unit, but it means the same thing. And then monatomic, mono means one. So monatomic ions are one atom ions. Groups 1, 2, 5A or 15, 16, 17. These we've looked at several times already. These are pretty straightforward. Group 1, when it forms an ion, loses an electron, has a positive charge. Loses 2. Actually, group 3, for the most part, is going to be a positive 3. Then 15, it's going to gain 3 electrons, gain 2, gain 1. Our transition metals in the middle will be a little bit different. So here's a table that shows some of them. So like here, chromium. Notice it has 2 different charges, where sodium is always +1, magnesium is always +2. Your transition metals, manganese, iron, cobalt, there's a lot of times more than one option. So we have to show that in the formula and in the name. And we'll talk about how to do that. So rules again, cation's always first, and then the anion is always second. Subscripts are the numbers, so it represents the number of ions, and the total charge must equal 0. So for example, NaCl, very common, sodium chloride, does not have any subscripts. That means I have 1 sodium, I have 1 chlorine. I could have K2O, which means I have 2 potassium and 1 oxygen. And we'll discuss why. Why do we use subscripts? How come this one has a subscript and this one doesn't? So we'll show how that works. And the way I show it on the board is a little bit different.